You are now tuned into Daily Discussions with Dena. Join in the discussion right here, Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m.
Welcome to your daily discussions with Dena. As always, if you have not already, I invite you to subscribe and join in the discussion. Let's talk about the bill that the Republicans proposed in Iowa last week. The Iowa GOP moves to stop SNAP users from buying white rice, fresh meat, and more. Now, let's get into this. SNAP, which stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as the Food Stamp Program by many. It is a form of federal food assistance for low-income people or those that may not have income or whatsoever. To begin with, the objective of the program was to encourage household consumption of surplus food as a source of job loss alleviation. The program was ended by 1934 because of the World War and because it reduced the domestic surplus that they had. In the 1960s, the food stamp program was reintroduced under the Great Society program that was led by Lyndon Johnson. So eventually, the Food Stamp Act was passed in 1964. But in 1939, it was used to help poor and low-income folk that were affected by the Great Depression. That is when the entire economy of the United States was deep down into the dumps, in the trash, and many people were in desperate need of food at that time, as there are today. So the purpose was to relieve hunger so people would not starve. So at that time, it provided poor people or low-income people and individuals who were unemployed or underemployed people with food. It is morphed into a federal program commonly known as the Food Stamp Program, as I said before. Present day, it is also called SNAP, and it came into existence to help people pay for food. The program's initial purpose was to strengthen the USA's agricultural economy and provide low-income households with the ability to purchase something to eat so they would not starve. And it allowed them to prepare their own nutritious meals. Now today, people who receive SNAP can go to the store, they can go to the grocery store and purchase any food of their liking. Snacks of all kinds, vegetables, meat of all types, fresh fruits, beverages, cereal, juices, and bread of their choice. There are restrictions, however. You cannot buy alcohol, tobacco products, medicines, vitamin supplements. You can't buy hot foods, pet food. You can't buy live animals or non-food items using food stamps or SNAP benefits. But now there is what's called the EBT card, which is just what they use to buy these food products with. And it was introduced in the 1990s. You know, it was the method by which people could use whatever benefits they had, cash benefits if it's welfare. But currently, there is a new bill that was very recently introduced by Iowa House Republicans on last week, to be exact. A bill that was designed and engineered exclusively for those receiving SNAP. This bill is proposed to radically cut the kinds of food that people in that state can actually purchase using their food stamp benefits. Now, these people want to stop those recipients from being able to purchase food of their choice. This proposed waiver is specifically designed to restrict SNAP, or as we would say, food stamp recipients, from being able to purchase what they want to eat, what it is that they desire to eat. These people only want to allow food stamp recipients to be able to get state approved food. They want a list of food that they can buy, and they don't want them to have the option to buy anything other than what is on that list. To be more exact, it appears that the state has a list, and they wanted it to be exactly like what is on the list that we see the WIC people have. Many may be familiar with the WIC program. It is a program that was designed for pregnant women, women with infants, and children. Now, the WIC program has been around for many years, providing food assistance for pregnant women, new mothers, and people with young children. And one thing for sure is that WIC items are very restrictive and limited. And this is what they are trying to do with this new bill that Iowa GOP has proposed. The United States Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition Service actually runs the SNAP program. And this ridiculous bill that was presented on January 11th intends to make food stamp or SNAP recipients adhere to this list of food as well. The bill proposes that Iowa request a waiver from the USDA to let it limit the foods that can be purchased with SNAP benefits inside of the state. As of yet, the USDA has not responded to this request, but here is what Iowans on SNAP would not be able to buy. They cannot buy meat of their choice. They cannot buy flour. They cannot buy butter, cooking oil, frozen prepared foods, and instead of allowing people to buy fresh meat, they would only be allowed to buy canned salmon and tuna. And according to the list of Iowa's approved WIC food, so they want them to be able to purchase WIC food and pretty much nothing else. Also on the list of items they would be prohibited from buying is flour and oil. They cannot buy canned soup or sliced cheese. These Republicans want the recipients to only be able to buy brown and not white rice. And they would have to swap white bread and pasta for 100% whole grain versions. And what about these people with allergies? Now, the bill is also designed to impose multiple restrictions in order to make it even more difficult for people to even qualify for SNAP in the first place. Currently, there are over 250,000 Iowans that rely on SNAP benefits, and some are concerned that this change will not allow people to get the nutrients that they need. That was the chair of Iowa Hunger Coalition. His name is Luke Elzinga, and he said that it's a huge list and that it would actually be quicker to list what these people would still be able to buy with their SNAP benefits than what is on the list. And that's shameful. And really, what it shows is that these people that sit up there and make these laws that affect you and me really do not give a damn about the people. It's all about protecting themselves and their own special interests when they make these kind of policies. Now, State Representative Beth Wessel-Crowshare reminded them that WIC is intended for new mothers, pregnant women, and they have pretty antiquated but very old restrictions, and she is certainly right. So they want to take the food stamps and give out WIC vouchers to people. This is completely absurd and speaks to why I say politicians look out for themselves and their own personal interests. They are always trying to make themselves available to these people who line their pockets. And the people that need the most assistance and actually elect them most of the time, they don't give a second thought to how things affect them. And they're more concerned with what benefits them personally. It is help everyone but the ones that they should be working to benefit. And something about this whole thing reminds me of the money and the resources being used to feed, house, clothe, and care for illegal immigrants. People that come to this country illegally and are given things. They're just given stuff that we are not privy to. But when it comes to the actual citizens' needs, it is always meager, thoughtless, and just plain incongruous. Everyone except the actual citizens seem to have their basic needs met and prioritized over us. And this is a problem. And the citizens of the country will have to stand up and demand change from these people that we vote into office. What good does it do people to have vouchers for food that they do not eat or desire to eat? These nonsense restrictions will definitely increase hunger and food insecurity in Iowa, taking away the ability of people to choose the foods that they eat. Now, we can all have criticisms of what people eat and what's in their desired diet or what they desire to eat, but it's still their choice. What is this? Socialism? Communism? But currently, SNAP provides assistance to various people in our society, like the elderly, low-income people, working under employed adults, disabled individuals, and illegal immigrants, among other groups. In addition to that, it assists the national economy, agriculture, and many socio-economic sectors to develop. It is indeed the primary source of food assistance for this needy country. And there are a lot of people in need in this country, especially at this time. But this bill goes even further. It's proposing that they limit SNAP recipients' assets based on federal guidelines. In other words, families would not even be able to have more than $2,750 on hand, or $4,250 if they got someone with a disability or over the age of 60 in their family. That is a very low guideline. So I have to agree with Azinga on this. It is an attempt to discourage people that are in need from applying for SNAP or food stamps, even when they are eligible. And it also discourages households from saving for emergencies. You can't have this money. You can't. It's like being on a wheel. You're trapped. Even if people have food stamps at this time, or they need it at this time, that does not mean that they are not trying to better themselves so they can move on from this stage in their life. So as Zinga said, that you can't rally, you can't even have an emergency savings account past a certain amount, or you would be kicked off the program. The Iowa Hunger Coalition says this could be a big problem for families hoping to build up their savings. How could you do it? I mean, that's what it's like, a process you want to get out of, but you need a helping hand. You don't want to stay on whatever assistance you may be getting forever unless you are disabled. So if you put things in place and don't give them an opportunity to at least climb up out of the hole, you cap stuff, you put them in a position where they're going to not want to do anything that may cause them harm and prevent them from getting what they need at that time. It's like a little trap. So it's almost like we're trying to make sure that these people don't get ahead. And this is what Representative Wessel Crochelle said. I think the job of SNAP is to try and lift people up while they're down and try and help them get ahead and not take away what they already have, what little they may have. So the bill that was presented hasn't been discussed in a subcommittee as of yet. However, Democrats are already against it and plan to bring up their concerns, and they should bring up their concerns, because the entire proposal is nothing but a hot and complete mess, in my opinion. What people see and identify as healthy differs based on the individual or household eating habits, and everyone does not eat the same or prepare meals in the same way. So what may look unhealthy to you may not be to them or for them. And I would not even conclude that what's considered nutritious back when they set up these guidelines is actually true today. Everyone's diet plan is kind of different today. So what it amounts to is almost a class war. Some of the officials look at the less fortunate as beneath them, and many feel they are the moral authority over them and what they should eat, where they can live, and how they should be treated and what they have access to. And this is part of the problem that I have with these Republicans in this case trying to dictate what is good or wholesome for everyone else's household. Give them the funds and let them choose the meals themselves. They know what it is that they want to prepare. Of course, you're going to always have those who don't know and who don't care to know, but that is always a part of your society. I think the right thing to do, and which would be more effective, is to offer some meal planning examples, meal prep consultations, demonstrations, and let people decide if they want to attend these. I mean, do not bombard these people with these sets of guidelines that you think satisfy your agenda. It's so condescending and it's arrogance. Some people eat differently based on their religious beliefs as well. So no, I do not agree with this bill at all, and I think others should express their disagreement with the context of how it is written, and most of all, the question needs to be asked, why? Why now? What is this whole idea behind presenting this bill, and what's the objective? When it was conceived, what was that objective? Who conceived it? What were they thinking? I certainly would not want to have a house full of canned fish and peanut butter as the only options for my meals. I mean, it defeats the purpose of getting assistance, because that does not necessarily has to be an agreement. Some people don't even eat that kind of stuff. You just want people to have canned food. They'd be more satisfied if people had the what was it called, the welfare cheese. That cheese that didn't melt. They always making these complaints as if this little bit of funding that they allow people who are less fortunate is somehow making them very rich or wealthy. They don't give people a whole lot of benefits here. It is an illusion. They take more money in those positions that they are in as politicians and representatives. They get more money than most of the everyday people that they're trying to help see. But in their minds, it's totally different. And for some reason, it's always okay for people to blame poor folks or the less fortunate for the ills or issues that go on in society, instead of taking accountability that they themselves, and most of the time it is the wealthy people or people that are in so-called political positions or positions of power, that do some of the most stealing. So no, I don't agree with that bill, but I do, and I would like to see if they were serious about helping people who were actually in these food programs. What would really truly be helpful is for them, the same politicians, the Republicans that drafted this bill to begin with, what would really, really be helpful and beneficial and wonderful to see is these same people gathered with this same spirit to fight this GMO thing, for them to establish a way to keep GMOs out of the food and make certain that they are completely banned. Wouldn't that be nice to see? And how about if they got together and banned the cloning of food in the industry? Furthermore, why don't they require that all of the growers use all natural seeds and no cancer-causing pesticides when growing plants? That would really be helpful. And that is something that we should probably be demanding, instead of a lot of complaints about what people are purchasing. Offer them better food to choose from instead of franken food. There's no way that wouldn't be beneficial to us all. Crafting a bill that requires all ingredients listed on the label to be actually food and not food byproducts, so we can be certain that whatever we eat in America is naturally wholesome and nutritious. Why do we never see these politicians out here presenting these kind of proposals and lobbyists promoting these particular items? Surely their constituents would love to see these kind of bills pass. I certainly would, because it would certainly be beneficial to us all. Let me know your thoughts on this particular issue. Be sure to subscribe and leave your thoughts and comments on this topic of discussion. And join me right here, Monday through Friday, for your daily dose of discussions with Dena. Ta-ta!
This concludes the daily discussions with Dena. Join us Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment.